You know, the weekend of July 21st is shaping up to be a very interesting head-to-head battle at the box office, which if you had asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have thought it would be that big of a battle, to be honest with you. But you got Barbie going head-to-head and opening on the same weekend as the new Christopher Nolan film, Oppenheimer. Now, I would have told you for a long time that clearly Oppenheimer is going to be the bigger film and Oppenheimer is going to be the better film. Now, that was before the marketing campaign for Barbie really got going. And they showed us a bunch of stuff at CinemaCon that made me believe, and we should have known Greta Gerwig is behind this film. She's an Academy Award, level storyteller, all that kind of stuff. I should have known there'd be more to it than meets the eye. No Transformers, pun intended. And we all came out of it. 5,000 people came out of that presentation actually really, really interested in this Barbie movie because it looks like it's going to be a lot more interesting than maybe a lot of people, including me, we're giving it credit for. But it's Christopher Nolan, right? It's Oppenheimer. This movie has Academy Award written all over it. Well, according to a story now coming out in the Hollywood Reporter, they are projecting that Barbie will beat Oppenheimer at the box office on its opening weekend, which is pretty radical and has a very interesting studio and filmmaker kind of story. We'll get to that in a second. This comes to us from the folks at the Hollywood Reporter who wrote this. At the time, most analysts didn't give the contest between the two films, Barbie and Oppenheimer, much thought, considering that a Barbie movie had languished in development for years before moving from Sony to Warner Brothers. But in recent months, the film has turned into a social media phenomenon. Preliminary tracking indicates that Barbie will win the July 21st to 23rd weekend ahead of Oppenheimer, according to sources with access to various polling services. For Oppenheimer, an R-rated 3-hour drama targeting adults, having legs would prove far more important than its opening weekend haul. Yet, there is no denying that filmmakers care deeply about a film's theatrical performance and topping the chart in its first weekend. Nolan has come in number 2 before. In 2014, Interstellar, some people's favorite Christopher Nolan movie. In 2014, Interstellar opened behind Disney's Big Hero 6 on its way to a $701.7 million global haul. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting little tidbits here. First of all, they're projecting now that Barbie will beat out Oppenheimer. And I think the article drops some information in there that kind of makes it seem like common sense that Barbie, with big stars, Ryan Reynolds, Margot Robbie, will.
Gosling.
What's that?
Ryan Gosling.
What did I say? Did I say Ryan Reynolds?
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Two Canadian Ryan.
Reynolds.
Whatever. Thank you. 2 Canadian Ryans. Yes, Ryan Gosling. Thank you, and Margot Robbie, starring in big stars, all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, you got Oppenheimer, which, like as the article says, is a 3-hour, very much adult film, going to be R-rated, by the way. So it really shouldn't catch a lot of people by surprise, I suppose, although I still am a little bit surprised. But here's the other little bit of interesting drama bubbling below the surface. Christopher Nolan used to be a Warner Brothers guy, and he had his very famous, very public breakup with them when he wrote an article that said, I went to bed working for one of the great film studios and I woke up working for the worst streaming company. And that signaled the divorce, and he left Warner Brothers, and now he's making his film Oppenheimer with Universal. Well, that little film Barbie, anybody want to take a guess what studio's behind that? Warner Brothers. Now this is kind of interesting because yesterday we talked about the fact that Warner Brothers has made it very public. They just said, their studio heads just said publicly in an interview, we want back into the Christopher Nolan business. And we believe we can. And they just sent him out of nowhere, like a check for millions that they're calling what did they call it? A residual check for Tenet. But really was just the 3 studio heads said, yeah, let's just send him a check in good faith. They said they're clearly trying to grease the wheels to try to work with Christopher Nolan again, which would beg the question, then why would you keep this Barbie movie on the same weekend that Nolan, the guy you apparently want back, is opening his big movie? And, the article kind of addresses that a little bit as well. And the reality is changing release dates is a massive undertaking and tough to do. And like the article says as well, Oppenheimer is going to make its money with its legs. It's not going to make its money with its opening weekend. It's just one of those types of films. So a lot of interesting little tidbits in this one little seemingly, obscure box office story. There's actually a lot of drama behind it. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Guys, it is 2023, and online privacy and security has never been more important. You see, every device, phones, computers, tablets, has a unique IP address, which is like an internet phone number and reveals personal information about you. It's super simple for somebody online who knows what they're doing to find your IP address. If you've ever clicked on a sketchy link or opened an email from somebody you don't know, your IP address could become exposed. Now that's where ExpressVPN has your back. ExpressVPN is an app that hides your real IP address and replaces it with a dummy one, keeping you safe and private. And you don't have to be some kind of techie to use a VPN. Guys, it is so easy to use. Just download the ExpressVPN app on your phone or computer, tap one button to turn it on, and you're protected. And if you like your streaming entertainment, here's the coolest part. They let you choose what country you want your IP address to look like it's coming from. This is incredibly useful because services like Netflix and Disney Plus give you different shows depending on what country you're in. So secure your family's online activity and unlock tons of new shows by visiting expressvpn.com/Campea. Use my link and you can get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Do you agree? And does it work with your head, the data that's coming out that's saying that Barbie is actually going to top Oppenheimer, at least on its opening weekend? It's not saying it'll beat it overall. Do you think Ryan Reynolds should have played Ken instead of Ryan Gosling? Do you think that this movie will have a chance, Oppenheimer, being rated R, being 3 hours long, being adult-oriented, to have big success like a lot of his other films have? Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks for checking out our video. Make sure you click the thumbs up button on it and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget that we do a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast. Go and subscribe to it today on your favorite podcasting app of choice.